This is the voice of the Cape. My radio station, your radio station, our radio station. 95.8 and 100.4 FM stereo.
Morning Espresso.
The voice of the Cape, 95.8 and 100.4 FM.
A very good morning to you. Assalamu alaikum. My dynamic personality today is Cecilia Schutte, and she is a beautiful lady who's very much into extreme sports, or so I think. Let's find out. Good morning to you, madam.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Well, it's very nice to have you here with us. So let's find out who Cecilia really is, first of all.
What would you like to know?
Oh, every little detail, the good and the bad.
Well, I'm an extreme swimmer, which means mainly in cold water because I have a special tolerance for cold, which is a little bit
you
different.
You do?
Yeah.
So winter in Switzerland is not going to bother you?
Hopefully not.
When you were little, what were you like?
Extremely hyperactive as a child.
Seriously?
I was telling my mom a little while ago I was a very good ADD candidate, and I was just thanking her so much for never putting me on Ritalin or on those medications.
Yeah.
Because I've read a lot about it recently on what they can do, and
isn't it too
it's
terrible?
Scary. It is scary.
Wow.
And there's no research actually done, believe it or not, on it. And yet these drugs are given out, and they're actually a few molecules away from being LSD. That's how close this drug is to LSD.
And you know what's the worst thing is that our little ones' bodies are racked with these things.
It's horrible.
It's too
and
terrible.
the suicide, I mean, that's one of the side effects of taking Ritalin.
Okay, let's not go there.
Yeah,
we want to focus on something more exciting,
Exactly,
which is you. We
Yes.
are thrilled that you agreed to be here today. I love women who goes, a little bit over the top.
Yes. I would say that's definitely a description.
Definitely you then.
Yes, definitely.
So when did you decide that swimming was your thing?
Ever since I could walk. As my mom says, before she knew I could walk, I was in the pool already.
Okay.
She had us in the water from a very young age. My mom luckily loves water as well.
Okay.
So she was with us, played with us in the water. I think it's very key that the parents are very close to their children, because it helps them develop in areas like swimming. Because a child loves to splash around with their mom or whatever in the water.
Indeed, who doesn't, eh? You show me a baby who doesn't love water.
Exactly. And unfortunately, drowning is one of our biggest problems in this country. We're actually one of the high statistics in the world. Over 3,000 youth.
But isn't that our responsibility as parents to make sure that our babies are safe?
Yeah.
I think if more people would teach their children to swim, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a basic life skill. We're in the modern age. It's not like we need to protect ourselves from the water or anything like that. And it's actually quite sad that a young person like that can die from something that can be prevented. It's not a car accident or something that was out of your hands,
Yes. So we're hoping that the parents today will take heed and teach their babies. And when I say babies, I mean babies.
Yeah, definitely.
People think that you cannot put a baby in a pool. Yeah. Babies are more adept than an adult in a pool.
Yeah. I mean, I know some parents can't swim themselves, and that's another problem. And to afford to take a child to swimming is quite a luxury. So there is a program called Splash, which my next few swims and the current one that I did recently, I'm endorsing that, and it's 450 Rand for a child that you adopt.
Okay.
And basically you get the progress report on this child. Everything. They send you the picture and the newest thing this child has learned. They're all disadvantaged children.
Yes.
Like in Atlantis, for instance.
Yes.
And they learn all the basic skills of swimming, and that's a proactive way of handling the drowning issues.
Judging from what you've just said, swimming is your number one love.
Yes.
But I'm sure there were other things other mischief that you got up to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my nickname when I was little, it was Terror,
Ooh, oh boy.
In a good way. So,
okay.
just because I was always running around. I climbed up trees, fell out of them, and I cracked my collarbone.
A regular tomboy.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I did gymnastics, dancing, badminton. I mean, the sport, you name it, I was doing that along with the swimming.
Which one of those, besides swimming, you would have loved to have gone into?
I love dancing. I did rhythmic gymnastics as well, which we had at our school. And I just love music, the rhythm. Like synchronized swimming is a beautiful thing also to look at,
It is rather, yes. But it also, it's very demanding.
Definitely.
Yes.
I mean, with sport, we need to encourage our youth to be active.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of schools are starting to move away from it. Some schools are moving away from sport on the American system.
Yeah.
And that's very scary because the problem with children not being able to concentrate is just because they don't have an outlet for their energy. And
so they get up to mischief to give vent to some of that.
Exactly.
Cecilia, don't go anywhere. Just stay
Sure.
put there because we have a lot of time still and I have a lot of questions.
Sure.
We're going to come back to you after the break.
Live from Cape Town, this is the Voice of the Cape. The Voice of the Cape. The Voice of the Cape.
Welcome back to Morning Espresso. Well, Cecilia Schutte is my guest. She's an extreme swimmer. She's going to talk to us about that in a little while. But I wanted to find out a little bit more about her because I found out that not only is she an extreme swimmer, she was also an extreme tomboy. That is a novel way of describing you, don't you think?
Yes, I think so. That's a new way of describing me.
So the next time you tell people a bit about yourself, you can add that in there.
Yes, I think that will be quite awesome.
So right now, if one looks at things that you have achieved in the past, talk about some of the stuff that you have done before we get to the now.
I think there's quite a few key things. When I finished school, I went backpacking over Europe.
Ooh, that must have been interesting.
It was, and I love freedom. I love a lot of space, and it's probably the type of swimming I'm doing. It's not a pool in lanes,
Yeah.
And I come from a family, we weren't rich or had a lot of money or anything like that, but we found ways to do what we want to do or achieve what we want to achieve. And that's one of the things I've learned from a very young age.
Okay.
And so when I went overseas, I found work and worked my way, backpacking and working and so on. So there was a week after my last matric exam, I was in England. So that was the plan. And
Wow.
Yeah.
What was England like?
I was amazing. I love England. Many people go, how can you like the weather? But they have
So
a moderate
cold.
summer, which is quite nice. And particularly I love Scotland. It's just beautiful. It's just the people are just amazing, and it's green. I love seeing countries, and you learn
should
a lot
visit
about cultures.
Ireland then. Ireland is beautiful.
I've been to Ireland.
What was it like for you?
Beautiful. I went to a little town called Kilkenny, which is just in the south of Ireland, and this whole country was ruled by this little town, which I found very amazing. Vikings going through there and stuff, something out of
Seriously?
Braveheart or something.
I have all these images in my mind right now.
No, it was, and you really feel the history.
Okay.
And I have a thing for history. I love history. I think it says a lot about our culture and where we come from. If you just look at the South African history, we have such a rainbow of information, if you want to call it that. And I think the good and the bad really molded who we are in this country. And there's a positive and negative, but I always believe you can take a negative and make it positive.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
you empower yourself through the negative things in life.
If you look at yourself right now, describe yourself in about 5 words. Let's hear.
That is interesting because I'm an extremely active person. I would say definitely something in the social mover, sort of social development, and extreme swimmer. That's kind of like really summarizes who I am and what I do. Because through my swimming, I'd like to effect a lot of change. And people go, well, how does swimming and youth, and how does this tie in?
So how does it all tie in? Because obviously you want to not just keep this to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've tried to give to others.
Yes.
How did you do that?
Well, first of all, I was an extreme environmental activist from the moment I was born, probably.
Yeah.
'Cause I think at the age of 9, my sister gave me this book called 1001 Ways to Save the Planet.
Okay.
I mean, for a 9-year-old. And I was
Okay.
ecstatic about this book, you know. And I did all kinds of mischief to try and get people to see what they're doing to the planet, in, you know, in an innocent
Yes,
sort of
yes.
useful way. But I think changing and getting awareness on the environment is not enough. We need to educate, and it all starts with the youth.
Yes.
Because they're the pioneers of the future. As I'm a pioneer in swimming, they're the pioneers of their future and of our future and our legacy.
Indeed, indeed.
So if there's any change or improvement we need in the environment, we need to educate people on why we need to look after the environment, why they need to care and nurture and so on. And learning or teaching children or youth or even just adults.
Knowledge is power, after all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't take that away. And when they learn just the basics of nurturing, looking after and so on, they can take that into their lives and apply that same life skill with other people in their work, in their goals
So
they want to
did you put all of this into practice and invite youth and started things? What did you do?
Last year I did a youth swimming development program, a winter challenge program, because I wanted the youth to kind of get the idea of mind over matter. What is mind over matter? And what shocked me is that they've never heard of this term, mind over matter.
And so in the end, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And that was very scary because this is something I grew up with.
Okay.
So it's very scary to get the idea that how you handle your mind is how it manifests in your actions in life. So if you have a strong mind or push your mind through things to achieve things, it will reflect in your actions in life.
Okay.
So even people think, oh yeah, but I don't know what to do. Well, start handling your mind or how you handle things in life through the mental side of things. Then it will reflect in how you do things in life.
In other words, push the boundaries a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you get out of your comfort zone, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next president of the country, or
Why
you know.
not? I mean, seriously, why not? Eh? We need that kinds of attitude.
Yeah.
In our environment, because
Definitely.
a lot of our youth, I think, are too laid back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And waiting for things to happen instead of making things
That's
happen.
the thing. Laid backness, I don't think, is a bad thing, but it needs to be balanced with being active. And lazy is the thing I would rather use as a laid back term.
I didn't want to go there, but it's okay for my guest to go there.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's also, again, comes down to the parents, how they bring up the child. And I think there
And
are...
what incentives you give them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, when we grew up, Fridays was our sweet day. We
Okay.
could not have sweets any other day of the week. Fridays was our sweet day. And what was quite funny is because we could have this day, we ended up not even having sweets. We ended up having other stuff. I love juice. My sister loved cheese, believe it or not. And that's what we would have on our sort of sweet day.
But it all boiled down to you having a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving children choices in life and allowing them to decide is also, it's a challenge for the parent to do that, but it really, in the long run, is liberating because it allows the child to grow. And I must say,
Indeed.
my mom allowed us to grow and gave us a lot of space.
Your mom sounds like an amazing woman.
She is phenomenal.
Yeah.
My dad was also amazing and was there for us financially and helping us and so on. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago from cancer.
Aw.
But
I'm sorry to hear that.
No. I mean, you get over it. Like I say, it sounds harsh when I say it like that, but
No, but life goes on.
yeah, I've bumped into people that are stuck on losses and things in life, and I say, you
You
will
need to
get
move
over
on,
it.
yes.
Antidepressants and all these things are not going to help you get over it.
Yeah.
And you empower yourself. with that.
Absolutely. We just need to pay some bills.
Sure.
When we come back, we'll chat some more.
Sure.
Live from Cape Town, this is the Voice of the Cape. The Voice of the Cape. The Voice of the Cape.
If swimming was your thing, well, my guest is the one person who's going to tell you about extreme swimming. Yeah. So I'm still not getting it there. Don't worry, I will. But we need to find out a little bit more about some of the mischief she's been getting up to before she got to the title of being an extreme swimmer. Okay. Now, Cecilia, before the break, we spoke about some of the activities you planned for our youth. And you got to the L word, where you talked about our youth being a bit lazy. And I was being very nice by saying laid back. But you all know punches, I see.
No, you just tell it as you see it.
All right. Okay, so we'll go with that. So how to get them out of that mode?
Definitely it starts at a young age. It's how you bring them up also, and allowing them to get not have too many boundaries. I think parents are very protective sometimes over the youth, and they don't allow them to just explore and learn.
Okay.
I mean, if you just look at the wild, if you look at wild animals and stuff, and if you look at, just observe lions, for instance. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you just look at how do they learn? I mean, they don't speak, say you must do this and do that. They just fall and they fight and they play fight and they fall out of trees and stuff, and that's how they learn.
But the one thing they also do is learn by example.
Exactly. They watch the others.
Yeah, so the parents do X, Y, and Z, and they follow suit.
Exactly. Very
so
much
now, that places a lot of responsibility on us as parents.
Yes, definitely.
To want to do the right thing so that they can emulate us.
I think the best or the biggest rule or thing you can teach your child before everything else is they must learn to be able to think for themselves. So that if a parent does make a mistake, the child can learn to evaluate and can see, like, I'm just giving an example, like how I grew up. I mean, my parents weren't all perfect, but I knew, okay, that doesn't seem to work, that doesn't look right, But no one taught me to think that way,
Yes. Yes.
But it's again allowing your child to have the freedom of choice and being able to think for themselves and
to express themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when they have that, your child will be safe. Because when someone offers them drugs, they can decide,
I think the worst thing a parent can say, what do you know? And who told you can think like this, or who taught you to want to do certain things? But as you grow older, if you are given choices, like you just said, at the time when you are faced with the extreme, I like this word, by the way, extreme choice.
Yes.
You can choose to do the right thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, let's get to the extreme thing already, because we've been skirting that issue the whole time. So, what is an extreme swimmer?
That's an interesting question, as it's quite a new sport in the sense that, not many people in the world is doing it. It is expanding.
Okay.
Well, in my case, I do marathon swimming. Long distance swimming is up to 10 kilometers, and marathon swimming is anything after 10 kilometers and up. And I do cold water, which is even more extremes. It's extreme cold water swimming.
So why cold water? Can your body take all that cold?
Well, my tolerance level for it doesn't mean I enjoy it, but my tolerance level for it is quite high. Where someone might get hypothermia at a certain point, I'll be able to go a little bit further.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's
it's minus
thing.
whatever, you can still go?
Exactly. So it's possibly a very small percentage genetic, but I think most of it is mental. You can train and train and train, but if you get into that water and your mind tells you all kinds of things, you can get out. Many competitive swimmers, they can't get into extreme swimming because they don't like the idea of not knowing what's under them, because it's like dark and there's no line like the pool, and they just don't do it.
Okay.
It's a mind thing.
It's not safe.
Well, that's what it feels like, because it's you're in the wild, you're out there, and in our waters we're notorious for great whites.
Do you ever think about that?
It does cross my mind a few times when I swim, but I must say the percentage of times I think of it while I'm swimming is definitely not as much as other things that I'm thinking of when I'm swimming. Yeah.
So swimming gets you extremely excited?
Well, I think the challenge, the idea of attaining the goal that you set out to put for yourself,
Let's talk about those goals. What did you set for yourself when you first started out?
I think I didn't realize actually until 2.5-3 years ago that I was going to get into extreme marathon swimming. Actually, I had not been swimming for about 12 years. I stopped swimming after school, backpacked work, and then just got back into it. And all of a sudden I realized, but I have an ability to swim long distances. I'd never known this, because competitive swimming goes up to around 3 kilometers at the most.
I was going to ask, what are we talking about when we say long distance?
Yeah, so anything, up from 5Ks up, So when I did get into that in the pool, I just started training the pool, and I realized, I can swim 10Ks in the pool. Okay, so this is not too bad.
Okay, but the pool and the sea is quite two different things.
I think.
Did you figure that one out and found that there were advantages and disadvantages to swimming in a pool?
Definitely. It's a very different kind of swimming. You must be able to adjust your stroke according to the water that you're in, because the conditions change all the time.
Okay.
So you can't be stuck on, okay, this is how I swim, because it's very different. You have currents, you have choppy water.
I was going to say the sea is living.
It's
and
moving
the,
all
and
the
the,
time.
and the pool is not.
It's very destabilizing in that sense, is that you're not like an athlete where you have the ground under you as a stable point. Your core as a swimmer is your stable point. So you need to have a very strong core muscles, because that's the only thing that stays stable in the water. Everything else is moving.
Okay.
So that's quite disconcerting for some people when they get into the water and they kind of feel this motion, you know, especially when it's choppy. Like on my last swim, the third, I did 3 laps around Robben Island, which was just over 33 kilometers. It was about 12 hours, 23 minutes, which in sense is quite a long swim. I was aiming to do it around 10 hours, but it goes to show what the conditions were like. On the third round, it was just, I've never ever swum in conditions like that before. It just changed completely from what we were going through.
What goes through your mind when you're doing this?
Quite a few things. I look at my stroke, you know, am I
Do
doing
you just
it right?
focus on that and nothing else?
A lot of the focus is on that. That's my focus, I suppose, is to see that I'm not changing it, or, you know, because you want to maintain your speed or motion forward. It's very easy to adjust it so it's not optimum because of the conditions you're in. So that's what you have to kind of learn, is how to maintain the best technique, even though the water is moving around and it's choppy.
Yeah.
Then there's other things like jellyfish.
Oh, those two, eh?
Yes,
Yeah.
that can give you quite a big sting as you go through them. And seaweed, kelp, you know, that you swim through. Sometimes this is dark patches under you and you're like, oh, what is that? You know? And you just kind of like just sort of close your eyes and swim over, you know, and hope it's just kelp, you know.
Yeah. And
So
not some dark
other
guy.
dark guy under you, yes.
I think when we're talking about the fact that you are now an extreme swimmer, are there any rewards for what you do?
Well, in pioneer swimming, as I would like to call it, because we are pioneers in the sport, most of the routes that I swim haven't been done yet by anyone.
Oh, okay.
So those are naturally then world records that we set, because other people have attempted it and they haven't been able to do it, or it just hasn't been done.
So you have a world record in what now?
I have 2. Twice around the island, no woman has done that.
Okay, cool. I like that one.
Yes, I love it. And then 3 times around the island, no one has done that anywhere in the world.
Okay.
And then on my previous swim, the 23-kilometer swim I've done from Big Bay around the back of Robben Island and back, no one has done that. Some have attempted it, but no one has done that anywhere in the world. And then ice swimming, which is a different type of swim. It's done in water under 5 degrees Celsius. So, in only your speedo bather cap and goggles, and that's all. Because none of this is done in wetsuits.
Okay.
It's just done in your normal speedo bather, and that's it. Those are the rules. And so 2 years ago, 2011, I became the first person to be inducted into the International Ice Swimming Association, the first woman to be inducted in the International Ice Swimming Association. Yeah, the sport's been predominantly a male sport, really. So it's quite pioneering for women at this point to do what we're doing.
Are there women who are interested in doing what you do?
Yeah, there are. In South Africa, we've had Karina Brewer, who is a well-known, she's not really doing marathon swims anymore, but she was an amazing pioneer for women in her day when she was doing it. But other than that, it's mainly been men in South Africa. That's been, but there's more and more women coming up for it. You see, our water temperatures here is very cold. If you look in America, there's quite a few big swims that they do there, but the water temperature is a lot warmer. So the challenge
it makes
is
it
not
easier.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not that great, although the distance is amazing, but the challenge is not that great with regards to the dangers of hypothermia, and then obviously great whites and the dangers of that in our waters as well.
Yeah. So you've never had this terrible fear that something will happen to you en route to breaking a record, so to speak?
I don't think it would be a fear. More of a crunching of the teeth, maybe, or something like that. A hope. Okay, let's hope they're well fed somewhere else, and they don't see me as food or bait. Or
Okay,
something.
yeah. That doesn't look tasty. Let's move on.
No. So I kind of just have this picture that they've eaten somewhere else and they're not interested. So.
Let's always keep that going in mind, okay?
Yes.
So what or who inspires you? And what gets you up and running every day?
You know, who is very interesting because, through my whole life I've had different elements of influences, or how do you say, inspirations. I would say I can't really name a specific person, but there are a few. There's someone called Lewis Pugh, who is a pioneer swimmer and environmental activist, and he swam on Everest, North Pole, Antarctica, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I definitely say Nelson Mandela for sure, just from the fact that, and this is actually why I've called this swim the Robben Island Circle of Life swim. And these projects that I support kind of give homage to what he's done. He's been a pioneer for the country.
Okay.
And he's changed things for the better. And through adversity, and he had so much reason to hate, and yet he came out with so much compassion.
And yet he chose peace.
Yeah, it's just... I get goosebumps when I talk about it, I really feel for that because I think I have the same passion to change things around me, and I feel now it is our duty to use our talent to change things around us for the better. And if you don't, it's almost like a sin on your side, if you want to call it that, because we're sitting on abilities that we can actually create a platform to make change.
Is this what you want to inspire the youth to do?
Well, that's the thing is, as I pioneer in what I do, I'm hoping that the youth will learn that they can be pioneers in themselves.
As well, yes.
And you don't need to have a lot of money, a lot of means or anything, but you can still pioneer your future, decide what you want to be and go for it. And once you make the decision, the things will fall into place. You just have to learn to push through and be honest and true to your goals. And you'll achieve it.
Indeed. If one looks at the... I just want to go rewind quickly to the beginning of our interview when you spoke about your mom. Would you say that she would be one of your role models and mentors?
Oh, definitely. I think...
Because I was going to remind you to say, you forgot about one, eh?
No, she's my idol in many ways. I think mothers, and I'm sure we have many that are listening, they are definitely the pillars in our society, the pillars in the home. And the glue that keep everything together. And we had some rough times at home and stuff like that sometimes, and my mom was always there. She created a home. And I think for those mothers out there that feel... this is tough,
Why do I have to do?
And my child doesn't even recognize what I'm doing or appreciate it. Believe me, you just keep putting that form there, keep putting that base there, that foundation, and they will have a place to come back to. And
absolutely.
They will see when they grow up or when they get out of what situation they're in, they'll definitely come back and go, there's always been someone that cared and understood. No matter how bad I was or what I did or whatever, there's always someone that loved me, and that's important.
And having you for a kid could not have been a picnic.
Well, I wasn't naughty as such, but I was very hyper.
I'm pulling your socks, darling. I'm pulling your socks.
We were talking about it the other day, and my mom just laughed. She said, she's been very blessed having kids that weren't way out, with regards to drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sensible in that sense. And again, it just shows when you have that foundation.
Yes.
It's so you can have a very strong discipline, which is important, but the love behind it is also important.
Yes, definitely. If you don't have that, then what's the whole point?
Exactly.
Yeah, family is very important.
Yeah.
Does your family support what you do, or do they think you're a wee bit crazy?
Oh, definitely a bit of both. My mom thought she never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now.
Okay.
This day and age, and The first swim I did, she was so nervous. She was always radioing the boat, because you have a support boat when you're doing the swims. And she was like, where is she? Is she doing okay? Is she, like mothers are. And she was like, and they're like, no, she's fine. It's a bit choppy, but she's doing
Yeah.
So she always gets nervous.
Imagine you didn't have that.
It's difficult to imagine.
Imagine you didn't have that,
difficult.
because you wouldn't be the person that you are today if you didn't have that kind of background, or you didn't have that support. And your mother's love and support is the one thing that always keeps you going. And like you said earlier, doesn't matter what kind of mischief you got up to, your mom was always there.
She was always there. And just to add another thing is, a lot of parents go, we don't have the money to do this, or we don't know. They don't feel like they get the idea that they need the finance to be able to support their child. You know, it doesn't come down to that. The child
not just about money.
It's just love and understanding, and keeping it open so the child can feel they can speak to you about anything.
Yes,
and that's very
definitely.
important.
Communication is key.
Yes,
definitely.
Before that is a solvent of everything in life.
Oh yes. So, future plans? What mischief are you going to be up to next?
I have a few crazy swims set out to do, as I call them.
Okay.
Because they are crazy. I think sometimes I tell myself, what am I doing here? I still have this pep talk with
But can
myself.
I just go back to when you did it the very first time, and you asked yourself, the first time you were going to do it,
Yes.
so what am I doing? What did I get myself into?
Exactly.
And after, what did you feel?
I'm like, and afterwards I was amazed. I was like, I still was amazed. I still actually couldn't, even though I just put my body through this pain and strain and all this, I still almost couldn't believe myself that I'd done that. I was standing up on Lion's Head and Signal Hill, looking back at the island on the first swim, and I still couldn't believe that I'd done that distance.
Okay.
You know, you look at your body, you measure it with your fingers, and you go, okay, this is my body, there's the island, and you're going, wow, I actually moved all the way. You know.
So the next thing that we're going to hear from you is going to be what?
There is a swim that it's roughly, it will either be 37 to 40 Ks to swim, which has never been done in the water here. That distance has never been done, especially in this cold water. So I'm busy setting out the path for that, just getting help from someone on currents and so on. Because you don't want to swim against the currents. So you need to plan out the route and so on.
Yes. So who helps you?
I have different support teams depending on who my boat person is for that day. It's quite costly. It is very much a team thing. People think swimming, it's so individual. It's very much a team thing.
Okay. It's not just about you.
Well, no. And the thing is, to set up a swim like this, you need the support. You need sponsors. It's very expensive and costly. So I had a few people like AWH Motors and Dr. Bruce, who was an amazing doctor, because I had an accident earlier last year on my motorbike.
Okay.
And he helped get my arm ready and stuff like that for swimming. So he was so helpful. DNA analysis helped me understand my body a little bit more. I mean, in this Speedo, it's a team activity.
Yeah.
You can't go without these people.
And sponsorship?
Well, Speedo is my main sponsor for equipment and so on, which helps me a lot. And I have Dr. Bruce from the Chiropractic and Sports Injury Center in Westlake, which helps prepare my body for things.
Okay.
But for the cost of these swims, I'm always looking for sponsors, corporate sponsors, as it's an amazing marketing tool for businesses.
Okay.
So, because the boat costs and the registration for the swim costs money.
All right.
So, anyone out there interested in a marketing
we're
opportunity?
It out there. Let's see what
We'll throw it out there.
Yeah, the bait is there. Let's see who takes it. All right. Cecilia Schutte, I want to thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
It was an absolute delight speaking to you today and finding out. I love women who go over the top a wee bit, and we're hoping that whatever you plan for the future, that it will be a great success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being our dynamic personality of the day.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.